Affairs Committee, the Democratic Congressman Eliot Engel of New York. Congressman, thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Will.
Let me get your quick reaction. It looks like the U.S. is engaged now in combat. It's not just training, advising, assisting. This is real combat. This is real war. Are you supportive of this?
Well, it's not combat like when we had nearly 200,000 troops in Iraq. This is a terribly unfortunate incident, but we do have business in Iraq. And from time to time, this is what's going to happen. I don't think it reflects any desire to get back into a war, a large-scale war. But there will be times like this, unfortunately, where there'll be casualties.
The U.S. has about 4,000 troops in Iraq right now. They're supposed to be advisors or trainers. Are you okay, though, with 4,000 American troops in Iraq right now and occasionally having to get involved in deadly combat?
Well, I think that Iraq, like Afghanistan, we need to have some troop presence there. We don't want all the hard-fought gains to really go out the window, and we're going to need it. I think we have to have it. What I don't want to see are boots on the ground in terms of large numbers of troops so we get sucked back into a war. But I think that missions like this are in the U.S. national interests, and from time to time again, unfortunately, very unfortunately, there are going to be some casualties.
You have confidence in this Iraqi government of Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi that he can get the job done? They still haven't been able to regain Mosul, the second largest city in Iraq, a city of nearly 2 million people, came under the control of ISIS, remains under the control of ISIS. The Iraqi military simply ran away and left behind all that U.S. military equipment, that armor that was given to them.
That's all true, and I don't have much confidence, and we're all pretty much disgusted. But it is in the U.S. National interest. ISIS needs to be destroyed. We cannot turn our backs and put our heads in the sand and pretend that it's not going to harm us, our allies, and our friends around the world. So we have to make a major mission in terms of destroying and degrading ISIS. And in doing that, unfortunately, we're going to have some casualties from time to time.
Because this Iraqi government increasingly is relying on the Iranians and now the Russians, as opposed to the United States, despite all the blood and treasure the U.S. invested in Iraq going back to 2003. You must be concerned about that.
I'm very concerned, and I think, as you're stating it, it's quite correct. It's very galling, particularly so much American blood was lost and shed in Iraq. Of course, Putin is running around with his mischief in Syria and every place else. He's coordinating things with the Jordanians. He's doing all kinds of things. He's going to keep doing it. He's going to keep poking fingers in our eyes and trying to do what he perceives to be in Russia's national interest. That's another worry we have.
The FBI director today, and you heard Evan Perez's report, said there are 900 current investigations in the United States underway, surveillance, total terror investigations, the vast majority of them ISIS-related in the United States. I knew ISIS was a problem recruiting Americans here. I didn't know there were 900, the vast majority ISIS-related. That number is pretty shocking to me. What about you?
Well, it's shocking, but the reports also say that the number has died down as of recent. It was even probably greater. Look, I can't figure out why any American would join ISIS. It's not just either a matter of people living in poverty. You have middle-class kids who growing up in the suburbs who think it's, I don't know, cool or whatever it is to join ISIS. And we have to figure out why that is and try to combat it. It certainly doesn't make sense to the average person. It makes no sense to me.
We're going to have more on this coming up. Brian Todd has an exclusive report coming up in a few minutes about one American who did, in fact, join one of these terror groups. Stay with us, Congressman. Don't go too far away. Much more coming up right here in the Situation Room.